Welcome to the Service Management Leadership Podcast with Jeffrey Tefertiller.
Good day to you. This is Jeffrey Tefertiller back with another Service Management Leadership Podcast. The other day I was having a conversation with a very senior IT leader in a very large organization. And it reminded me of something that's been bouncing around in my head for a long time, but it allowed me to solidify it. We were talking about all the areas of service management and how do we align them. And so I coined the term the golden triangle of service management. You know, not every angle or length of a triangle is the same. You may have a triangle with two short sides and one long, or they don't have to be equal angles. They could be all different shapes. And so I want you to think of your organization with these three areas that I'm going to talk about as this triangle. A lot of organizations seek for alignment. And I, in this conversation with this leader, was pushing for the idea that we need more than alignment. We need to make sure that we had the same priorities, that we were all working in the same direction at the same speed. But it doesn't mean that each of these three areas has to be equal. So you may be thinking, Jeffrey, what are you talking about? These three aspects are your processes or practices, your CMDB, and your service management platform or tool, whatever you call it. Enterprise service management, IT service management, the tool. And so you can't have service management with only two of those three. You can't have it with just process and CMDB without a tool. I guess you can, but it'll be very manual, right? You can't have a service management organization with CMDB and tool, but no process. That seems ridiculous, right? So all three aspects of this golden triangle must be aligned and working well together. If you think of the Olympics and the people that were rowing those sculls, and they were making sure they were in the same time, they had the same cadence, all that sort of thing. Your service management organization is the same. Each of these three areas must be working well together. Or, let's say it very plainly, your service management organization will not be successful. So, we have reached a very important time in our service management world. When I started in this world, there were organizations that process big and a little bit of CMDB and no tool. I've been in this world a long time. And there were others that had big process, no CMDB, and a little bit of tool. And now it seems kind of crazy to think you're doing change management without a CMDB. Or a CMDB without a tool, right? That all works together. So we've reached this very important time in our service management world where you cannot improve one of these aspects without impacting the other two. I'm going to repeat that because I want that to sink in, and I want you to email me, message me if you disagree. We have reached a point in time in service management where you cannot improve one of these aspects without impacting the other two. And in fact, you need the other two to be on board and to enable this improvement. I want to talk about a couple of use cases just as we talk through this. Let's say your organization is going through a big process redesign, re-engineering. You want to be more effective, more agile. And so you improve your change, your incident. Let's talk change. You want to just alter the change workflow so that you can have more standard changes, more automation, so on and so forth. How are you going to do that without impacting the tool? How are you going to improve your change management process without having some help, having some aid from your CMDB? You can't, can you? Another, been part of a lot of CMDB remediation. However, much of what you need from CMDB comes from process or tool. You cannot remediate your CMDB without going back to change and making sure that change enforces your now CMDB standards or governance. Right? You cannot implement more tooling without it impacting your processes or your CMDB. All three of these aspects within the golden triangle must be working together. So, will it look the same in every organization? Oh, no. Some organizations may have a minimal CMDB, minimal tooling, but strong on process. That's fine. Some may have minimal process because we're just going to take what's inside the tool and make some small adjustments, and we'll have pretty good CMDB. That's fine. But you still have some process when you're talking about executing your process within the tool. The straight out of the box change or incidents, that doesn't work for organizations. Yes, you do want to stay as close to out of the box as possible. That is a worthwhile goal. But it can't be zero in terms of configuration. And so this golden triangle of thought and how these three areas must be understood in terms of dependency with the other two and enabled by the other two has to be at the forefront of our thought process. I welcome your thoughts on this as it came to me, this golden triangle perspective, and how if stakeholders want to improve the incident management form, because we want to make it easier for users to input an incident, it still needs help from CMDB. It still needs help from our tooling. No matter what we do in one of those three areas, it impacts and is enabled by the other two. This is a topic that, when something occurs to you, you're like, wow, why didn't I think of that earlier? But this golden triangle thought process is big, and it's one that we don't discuss very frequently until now. This is Jeffrey Tefertiller. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Please feel free to follow our LinkedIn company page at Service Management Leadership, and let me know how I or the company can help you. Always happy to pass on knowledge and experience where I have them to help you in your job. Have an awesome rest of your day.